to Baxter County Roundtable. I believe this is episode 43. I could be off on one on that. Tonight, we have two special guests. First up is going to be Teresa Smith, County Collector. And then after we have a talk with her, we're going to talk to Shane Little, who is the proprietor, him and his wife, of Ozark Fork and Cork and Mountain Homemade. So, but before we do that, we have a couple of sponsors. One is Mountain Home Heat and Air, and you'll see on the screen here that their phone number is 870-425-HVAC, and I can't see the translation below that for the numbers, but anyway, you can find them easily around Mountain Home. They have made in America products, and they service others as well. So do business with them if you can, if you need somebody. And we have a new sponsor, James Boyette State Farm, and we will have more information for that coming soon. So I apologize for not having specifics, but he's easy to find in Mountain Home as well. And I bet Teresa could probably tell us if she wanted to, but that's not why she's here. So my name is Joe Bryant. Oh, by the way, Baxter County Republican Committee actually gave us the seed money to sponsor this, so we owe them a thanks also. So now, that stuff aside, I want to introduce Teresa Smith. She's the Baxter County Collector, and I will probably call her the assessor a few times, but that's me. So introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, thanks for having me tonight. I am Teresa Smith. I am the Baxter County Collector. As Joe said, I have been the collector since 2015. I am a true native of Baxter County, born, raised, have always been a resident of Baxter County. And so I'm proud to call it home, and I'm proud to serve Baxter County as the collector.
Awesome. Okay. Now that we know you're a collector and not an assessor, tell us a little bit about, well, what got you here, where you're at?
Well, the true honest answer is Kanda Reese, our county and circuit clerk, I insured her years ago, and we became prayer partners. Didn't really know her outside of insuring her and just becoming prayer partners with her. She called me one day back in 2013 and asked me to do lunch with her, and I said sure. And she said she needed to get me to pray about something. I said, well, that's just amazing. And so I met up with her for lunch. We talked, and she said that she felt led, that she just felt that she needed to ask me if I'd be interested to run for the county collector. And I knew right then that that's what I was supposed to do. And so I said, yes. I mean, I just knew with clarity that is the path that God wanted me to take.
That's the best way to get someplace for sure. So you were my insurance person as well.
I was.
So how did that prepare you, or was that any consideration, or?
No. I've met a lot of people. I've worked in the insurance world for 15 years, and I will always be forever grateful to the agents that allowed me to come on board with them and work with them for that many years. And you just learn. I mean, you just learn people, you learn different things, and then life events happened, and I actually left State Farm, and I went into the banking world, and I kind of just got shoved out there on my own at that moment in time. And the one thing the lady that hired me said, insurance and mortgages, lending, run parallel. And that is all the information that I was given. And so I do believe that is where God actually took me out of the insurance world, where I was comfortable, loved what I did, loved State Farm. I loved everything about my job. And when the time came that it was time for me to leave, I felt God tell me it's time to go. He was preparing me, because when I got in the banking world, I had to learn it all on my own. And so it was
Well, and I can see the relationship between banking and collecting, you
Right.
know, so.
And so anyway, it was just one of those things that helped prepare me to really get my own backbone and to stand on my own 2 feet and be able to handle the things that got thrown my way through all of that transition.
Well, it's to me. I don't care what profession you go into. If you're changing professions, especially, you're going to have to learn some stuff on the job. You're not just going to walk in and go, "Hey, I am a collector, so I'm going to start collecting." All right. Well, so now to become a collector, you don't just fill out an application. How do you come to be a collector?
I'm elected just like the other 6 elected officials are in Baxter County. So I had to run for my position and win.
So now we just went through a primary. Did you have an opponent in the primary?
I did not. I was blessed. One more term not to have an opponent.
Okay. Do you anticipate sticking around a while after this term?
I do. Lord willing, I plan on this being my last job until I retire, and I'm a few years away from retiring. And I have not been with the county long enough to get my years in just by years. And so, as long as the people keep me and the good Lord wants me here, I will be the collector at least. I will go. I'm going into the next term because I didn't have an opponent, and I would really like to have 2 more terms after that.
Okay. Oh, I misunderstood you. Do you have an opponent in this
Nope.
next one? Okay. In the regular election, no opponent. Awesome. That makes life much simpler.
It does.
Okay. So you get elected collector. You're collecting all. Just keep it on collecting, and so you have employees that work under you, and what kind of supervision is required for that?
I tell them I'm not a babysitter. So if I have to babysit you, I don't need you. And so I have good policies in place. We have a good team. I try to give everyone good direction on the different jobs that they do within my office. Each lady outside of collecting taxes, they each have their own set of duties that they have to do as well. I am not a receipting collector, meaning that I just wait for people to walk in the door and give me their money, and whatever I get, that's just what we get. I'm a true collector, and I go after people when they go delinquent. Because if you pay your taxes on time, I pay my taxes on time, everybody else should be paying their taxes as well.
Well, there's rules, and they're not rules that you made.
Right.
They're just you're doing your job is the way I see that. Um, on the other hand, though, I can imagine that you're not the most popular person in town when collection time comes. Is there any truth to that?
Absolutely. My dad used to want to introduce me to people, and I'd tell him, "You really don't want to do that." And but he was proud, you know. My dad actually ran for sheriff in '76 and '78 here in Baxter County, and actually ran for collector in '80. And good Lord knew that he was not meant for any of those positions. And I told him, I said, "You will introduce me to people, and they are not going to be too appreciative." And he learned real quick when he'd say, "Oh, do you know who she is outside of being my daughter?" "No." "Well, she's your collector." "Oh."
Oh, that lady.
And so, anyway, it is fun. I enjoy what I do, but yes, it is not the most popular position or office in the county.
Well, in all fairness, I get really treated really well when I go in there. Even I'll go to the assessor first, and they're all awesome. Then I have to make the trek across to write that doggone check. But they almost make me feel glad that I'm writing them a check. Almost, I said now. So
To work for me, I hire personality. Now, yes, you have to pass a criminal background check. You have to pass the drug test. You have to do all those things. But I don't care what's on your resume. I want to know what your personality is. And do you have the backbone, for one, to be able to put up with the hate that's thrown towards you every day in the office, which it is.
it's every day, pretty much.
It can be.
Well, now, but now, is there a season where it's like now? It's probably, or you're always collecting, I guess, aren't you?
Yes.
Because
Delinquent, when we roll delinquent, is really when people can get very testy in what they do and how they feel about our office. But we do our very best to treat everyone equally and just let everybody know how important they are. And we're not there to be their burden. We're not there to make their life difficult. We're there to take care of collecting the taxes that we're there charged to collect. And so I do hire personality. I've got 90 days to figure out if you can be worthy of collecting millions and millions of dollars for the county, and I won't keep you if you're not. But I cannot train your personality.
Okay,
So
describe to us your job in basic terms. I mean, you don't just walk in and hold your hand out when people walk in. It can't be that simple.
You mean collecting taxes?
Yes. What's the job description for your job?
For mine, to know the laws mostly. I mean, I have a group of ladies that take care of the everyday things in my office. Mine's the laws, and to make sure that my office, that we are abiding by the laws that the state has put before us throughout the years. And so I do my very best to follow all the shalls in my office. I don't care if I like the shalls or not. If the law tells me that the collector shall, then this collector shall. And that is my big part. But we are there to take care of the people. So we answer the phones when people come in. We answer questions. We take their money. And that's, I mean, basically holding out our hand and collecting money is the number one priority in the job. And then we have a lady that takes care of the veterans. I have a lady that works with our probate cases and deceased family members. I have a lady that goes after, she works with a third-party vendor that I use to collect delinquent taxes. When I get to the point that you're not listening to me, say, okay, you owe us money, these are the things I can do. And people who ignore us, I turn them over to a collection. They're not really a collection agency, but they are a collection agency too.
But,
and so
if somebody, I don't want to use the word dispute, but that's probably the appropriate word, but doesn't understand what's going on. I mean, is there a process where they can come in and get some help from
absolutely
you, or
every one of us in my office will help anybody that walks in our door, calls on the phone, sends an email. We have a live chat in our office. Any of those ways that we can help people, we do. And so we are there to answer the questions and try to simplify what is on the tax statement. And the easiest way for us to say it is whatever you assessed in the assessor's office or whatever real estate has passed through the assessor's office, they have rolled the value that they have placed on those items to our office. We've attached the millage to it, and that is what causes your tax statement. And so we have no control over any of that. The Corn Court passes the millage in November of every year. And the assessor's office is the one that does the assessing or putting the value on the items that you have. And it's the taxpayers who have purchased those items or the real estate, whatever it is, that has caused the values to be what they are, for the taxes to be what they are.
So I have to imagine when you show up on day one of your first term, there's some training is going to be required. Yes or no?
Well, when I took office, I came into an empty office. My predecessor didn't leave me a stitch of anything to help me.
Oh.
And so that was a challenge. I was locked out of my computer for 2 weeks. I don't know how that really happened and why the software people couldn't help me. And so that is what I walked into. No help at all from my predecessor at all. And she wouldn't let me in the office at all before I took office.
So there was some dissension, apparently.
Well, I don't know why.
Maybe.
She retired, and I ran, and I got the position. So I'm not really for sure why it was the way that it was, but it was that way.
Well, that's too bad.
So I went to Saline County, which is Benton, down by Little Rock, and spent a few days, about a week down there with the collector's office down there to learn the ropes because, I came from the insurance world and the banking world, and, I needed to learn something about the collecting world. And so I went and spent time with them. And then since then, we do have training. The collectors, all the associations, the collectors, the clerks, the assessors, the treasurers, the judges, the sheriffs, we all have an association, and we have training in our associations. And so I go to all the trainings, and I have...
So there's ongoing training.
Yes.
Okay.
And at the moment, I'm sitting first vice president of the Collectors Association.
Oh.
And I'm hoping I will put my... do my very best to become the president this next term.
Well, that's good.
And so,
lofty goals, excellent. We want good people.
Then they get you the big old book, the state statute book, and that is what we call our Bible that we go by. And I'm not an attorney, so much of that stuff in there, you look at it and go, well, that doesn't make any sense at all. What are they trying to say there? And so it's just learning and knowing who to reach out to in the legislature at the AAC, the Association of Arkansas Counties, they are a tremendous help to us, and then other collectors as well.
So, and like any other job, as time goes on, you learn this stuff. You get better. You see it more and more, the same stuff, and
You take
and
all your notes and you highlight in all your books, and you do all the different things to just help you remember. Because some of the things that we do, we only do once a year.
right.
And so just to remember how to do all those things and do it the right way.
Well, you have a good plan. It sounds like in my business, I took notes, and I still have my notebook from the when I was a greenhorn, and of course, I don't have to refer to it as much anymore. But that sounds like something that you've done.
I have what I call my handy dandy book, and that is emails where other collectors throughout the years have asked questions of this or that, and the different laws or different AG opinions, whatever the case may be, was presented in an email form. I print them off, and they're all in my handy dandy book. And so I go back to that when other collectors have questions. A lot of times I have the answers in my handy dandy book. And I have 2 handy dandy big books now because of the length of time and the information that we have. But no, I'm a big note taker because I just want to do it right.
That's good. Okay. Now you mentioned that you came in 2015,
Yes.
and there was a computer that you couldn't get into,
Right.
but there was some tech in the office. Has it changed since 2015 or?
I have changed software providers. I did that November of last year, and so your tax statement looks different this year. I didn't always stay on the best of terms with my old software people because they're the reason I couldn't get in my computer for 2 weeks way back in 2015. And so I changed software providers, and that has been a learning experience and some learning curves. But they are amazing. They are way ahead in technology over the other company that I was using, and so, yes.
So you're saying there's been improvements in that respect. Is there anything else that's changed, or any other improvements that you want to brag about?
Well, I've changed credit card companies because people want to be able to pay by Venmo, Apple Pay, all those different kind of ways, and my old credit card company didn't offer anything like that either. And so one of the reasons why changing to this new software provider, I was able to change credit card companies as well. And they have a scan to pay to where you can scan a barcode and go into Walmart or someplace and pay that way, which is interesting. I haven't really gotten that one full-fledged up and going, but that's pretty amazing that you can just take a barcode into Walmart and say, I need to pay my taxes. They scan the barcode. They say your taxes are X amount of dollars. You have to pay with cash, to my understanding. But, yeah, so that's kind of cool. I'm able to text people now. I can text reminders. That's one thing I always wanted from my old software provider, and after all the years, I still didn't have anything like that with them. And so I can text people, like we can text them just information that they need, letting them know that the tax books are open, if they're going delinquent, whatever the case may be. I have full control over whatever it is that gets texted out, and so that has been a big plus in the office as well.
Okay, so me as a customer, I can do business online in many cases, I guess is the best way to say that. How do we find that?
You can go to baxtercountyar.gov, the county's website, and there's a tab on there that says pay taxes. You can click pay taxes now, and it will take you in where you can enter your information and pull up your parcels. And there's a view history in there that you can click on and pull up the history of those certain parcels that you're looking for, and all of that. I do use ACT Data Scout as well, where people can go out and find different information about their parcels. From my office and the assessor's office, both of us have shared that same program.
Okay, so what was that website again?
ACT Data Scout.
No,
And then
and the other one?
The other one, you just go to baxtercountyar.gov's website.
AR.gov. Okay. What else you got? What else you want us to know about?
I do want people to understand and know about the voluntary tax that's on your tax statement for the animal shelter. People always get us goofed up for the Baxter County Animal Shelter with the Humane Society. We are not the Humane Society. The county has its own shelter. It's a small shelter. It's ran by the sheriff at this moment in time. And the monies that we collect in the collector's office basically helps run the animal shelter.
Now, is that something new?
No, it became part of the bill in 2014, the year before I started.
Okay.
My predecessor collected $7,000 for the animal shelter that year, and I changed the placement of it on the tax statement. And starting in 2015, we went from $7,000 to $60,000. And as of this past year, I don't think I quite hit my 90,000 mark. That was my own personal goal, but all that money goes to help the animals at the shelter.
Well, I think that's
And
a noble
so-
cause. I'm
So
not.
that's one of the things that the ladies in my office have to ask if you come in to pay your taxes. If you don't already have your check made out and you're wanting to, say, okay, I need to pay my taxes, one of the first questions they're going to ask is, are you wanting to give to the animal shelter? And so you can easily say no, and we will say, okay. But that is the first question, because a lot of people are just not aware that we have an animal shelter, and it's a no-kill shelter. For 3 years now, they have been deemed a no-kill shelter. And
Good deal.
which is huge, because a lot of people, you see things on Facebook that say, do not call the animal shelter, they euthanize.
Are they adopting these pets out then, I
Yes,
presume?
yes.
Yeah, okay, good,
And
good.
so-
I like that. All right, well, anything else you want to tell us?
Um, no, not really. I think we've covered just about everything in my office, and like you, I'll walk out here and go, oh, I should have said whatever. But I do want people to know what a great group of elected officials we have in Baxter County.
I have to agree with that. I have to agree with that.
We don't always agree. We're not always on the same page. We can have some heated discussions behind closed doors, but then we also know how to come together and try to find an answer to whatever it is that we may not see eye to eye on. And so not all counties have that. And so we're very blessed in Baxter County that the elected officials that we have at this moment, we all get along, we all are passionate about what it is that we do. And we have the county, our taxpayers, our taxing entities, our employees, everybody that's out there. We have all of that front and center, and we all look at it just from a different perspective, because each of us are coming into it from a different perspective. And so, but we have an amazing group. I'm blessed to work with
I'm
people
not
that-
going to dispute that at all. I mean, all these offices, when I walk in, I'm going to say that I'm somebody special, but they treat me like I am. So I'm kidding when I say that, but, yeah, the people that work for our county government are generally awesome.
And
So-
we try really hard.
That being
So-
said, I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And if you are driving down the road and you go, man, I wish I would have said such and such, you're welcome to come back anytime.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
we really appreciate you coming this time.
All
So
right, well, thank you for having me.
thanks again, and we will excuse you, and our next guest will take your place.
All right. Thank you.
And thanks a lot. So while we're changing out guests, I'm going to mention our sponsors again. That's Mountain Home Heat and Air, 870-425-HVAC, and that's in Mountain Home, and they have Made in America products. They service many others, I'm certain. So if you have heating and air needs, give them a call. We'll have signage probably soon for James Boyette State Farm is another sponsor, and I don't have much of the contact info, but you can find them easily in Mountain Home, excuse me. And also thanks to Baxter County Republican Committee, who really provided the seed money to get this podcast off the skids and going. So that being said, I want to welcome Shane Little. He is the proprietor, him and his wife, I guess, are the proprietor of Ozark Fork and Cork and Mountain Homemade. Now, I'm going to let you describe how that is laid out and the reasoning behind your layout. But first, I want you to tell us a little bit about you, how you got here, and just a little bit about your background.
Sure, yeah. My wife, Sally, I want to start from the very beginning. That this is really her show. She's the star of the show. I always joke with people, I'm just kind of her sidekick.
Well, I'm glad you didn't forget that part.
She's amazing. She's one of the hardest working women I've ever met in my entire life, and she does a lot of amazing things. We moved to the Mountain Home area about 6 or 7 years ago. I actually grew up in Pocahontas, 2 hours east of here, and spent a lot of time on the lake, on Norfolk Lake when I was growing up. So this was my wife is from the Pittsburgh area, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, just north of there in a little town called Ambridge. And she, through just quirks of fate, she ended up here in Arkansas. We lived in Conway before we moved here. We met, and at some point we just decided we wanted to move out into away from the big city and get into the country.
She
and
lucked out finding the Ozarks coming from
oh
Pittsburgh,
yeah,
I'd say.
yeah, this is a lovely area, and we love it here. So about like I said, about 6 or 7 years ago, we moved up here. Own a farm. She had started making some jellies and pickles and stuff, and we were selling at the farmers market down there in Conway. So that's kind of what we just wanted to kind of change a lifestyle. My day job, I do IT work, and at the time, and it's still true to this day, a lot of back then, a lot of remote work was becoming available. So, I mean, IT work, I managed a software development team at the company that I worked for. So it didn't really matter where I live as long as I had a decent internet connection. So we moved here, loved the area. There's great people. It's just such a beautiful area here in the Twin Lakes area. You got these two giant Army Corps of Engineer lakes and the rivers and everything.
Oh,
We just and like I said, the people really are the icing on the cake.
All the clean water.
Yes.
It's awesome for sure.
So we moved up here and just continued what we started in Conway. Sally was growing her a little pickling business, and we were just working with the markets and with the farmers markets here, and eventually we decided we needed a commercial kitchen in order to manufacture the pickles and things that we made, because at least at the time back then, the way the Arkansas cottage food laws were, you could make things like jams, jellies in a home kitchen, but you couldn't make acidified foods like pickles and salsas and things like that. You actually had to have a licensed, health department inspected commercial kitchen. So, and at the time, we were traveling back and forth to a shared commercial kitchen down in Little Rock. And so we decided, well, that's just unsustainable. So we rented a place here in town. We thought, well, if we're going to rent a place, we may as well sell the stuff that we make. And while we're at it, we may as well, have a little place where we could sell the stuff that we make. And we wanted other people to participate in that as well. So the evolution of that became Mountain Homemade. It's a little retail store. It's a consignment shop where we sell the food items that we make. And other people are welcome to come and consign their items in there as well. We take just a little bit of a cut to keep the lights on in the place and pay the rent. But our fees are really low because I want the people that make the things to actually make a buck.
Right.
So we feel like we're helping out the community, giving everybody a chance to make earn a little bit of money for the things that they make. So everything in our little shop called Mountain Homemade is made in the Mountain Home area.
Okay, so when someone comes to your place, that's where they go first when they walk in the doors. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, you walk in. It's a little. It's almost like a little indoor farmers market, craft shop. We've got stained glass makers. We've got local. We got a guy who lives in Yellville that roasts his own coffee. And we've got people that make all kinds of skincare products, and they're all natural. One of our most recent vendors actually makes a lot of shampoos and soaps and things that are alpha-gal friendly. This is something I wasn't even aware of until just a few weeks ago. There's a lot of so many people nowadays are getting this alpha-gal.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that a lot of the shampoos and soaps and products that really cause problems for them. So one of our newest vendors in the shop, they make these alpha-gal friendly skin lotions and soaps and things. And it's all manner of stuff. We've even got raw milk and cheeses that we sell that are all local made.
Sounds like it has a little Cracker Barrel feel,
Well,
the old Cracker Barrel, I guess.
Yes, the old one, not the new. Yes. Yeah. So we started Mountain Homemade about 4 years ago now, 4.5. We're going on 5. And we felt like we wanted something to draw in more people into the shop. So that's where the Ozark Fork and Cork came into being. So we expanded.
Okay. Before you get there,
Sure.
I want to be the first one to try to say charcuterie.
Well, you said it right.
Did I get it right?
Charcuterie.
I was warming up on the way here, hoping
Yeah.
I'd get it right.
We've actually got a little board on the wall in our shop that's got a little pronunciation guide.
Just before you come in.
Yeah, I've heard people. It seems to be a hard. It was a hard word for me to pronounce for a long time, and I had to have my wife educate me. You know, charcuterie.
You're reverting back to your childhood. In first grade.
Charcuterie. Yes, that's how it's pronounced. If you're ever in doubt. But yeah, so again, my wife's the star of the show. So we always thought if we ever did, if there's anything we could do really well, it's start kind of a little wine bar and a little bit of a partly restaurant, partly wine bar. We wanted to provide something unique to this area that's not really, we've got some bar/restaurants and things. But my gosh, one of the challenges that my wife and I always had going into some of the local joints is so loud. You literally have to yell at each other across the table just to have a conversation. So we wanted kind of a quiet, relaxed, subdued environment where people can come in and visit with each other, and it's relaxing and quiet, relatively quiet, and so people can just enjoy something that maybe they don't get a chance to experience elsewhere. So we expanded out last year. The Ozark Fork and Cork opened in July of last year. And you actually enter the restaurant/wine bar inside our Mountain Homemade gift shop. So you come in the gift shop first. And then you go through the entrance into the restaurant.
Now, what came first? The restaurant?
The Mountain Homemade store came first. It's like a little, think indoor farmer and craft market. And then last year we expanded out. We actually rented the space next door to where our shop is, and opened up. It basically just renovated it and converted it into a little wine bar and charcuterie restaurant. So the primary food that we sell is really fancy meats and cheeses and little boards. They come out on little platters of wood, and each one is like a little work of art. It's amazing. And they're not. And this is the biggest hurdle we've had since we started this. Most people in this area, when they think charcuterie, they're thinking the cheap stuff that you get. It's just simple meat, bologna and pepperoni and cheese.
Big old box, a couple humps of cheese and some crackers.
And they think, oh, that's just a little snack. No. I say this is the thing that people are most surprised about when they come and get some food. It is a lot of food. It is we sell it. We kind of charge by the person. So there's one single serving is plenty to fill a grown person up. It's not just a snack; it's a full meal. And we have, and of course, the other part of it is we have wines from all over the world. We have a huge wine selection. So, in fact, we didn't really know, but our actual wine supplier, when we first started this, he told us, guys, you've done something. You've got something here that it's so unique. There's
no ripple. This is all good stuff. There's no Boone's Farm.
That's right, and that's the thing. The wine and the food is nothing. You cannot buy it around here. You cannot find it at the grocery stores. It's not the kind of meats and cheeses that you can even find here. Most of it is imported from Europe and Spain. We've got cheeses from England, from France, and all kinds of places like that.
Okay, so you opened the Mountain Homemade store first, then the charcuterie.
The wine bar and charcuterie restaurant, yeah.
So, and that's only been about a year for that?
It's less than a year. It's not even been open a year yet.
And what'd you say, 4 years on the other one? Mm-hmm. Okay, question is, do you think that this is a place for tourists to visit? Or do you have a feel for?
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, a lot of people, even in the middle of winter, we have people walk in here and they're like, oh, we found it on Google Maps or whatever. It sounded really interesting. And, we've got some pictures on our website. It's ozarkforkandcork.com. Yeah. And it's very, the decor and the atmosphere in there it's kind of somewhat eclectic, kind of almost like a little Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, I've been
the
in
antiques
there, and it looks like a lot of the stuff that tourists, when tourists go out meandering, looking around, that's the kind of place they would go into
Yeah,
if they knew
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, it's in fact a lot, not all, but a lot of the antique decorations and things that we've got hanging from the walls or the ceiling or whatever. They're actually old family heirloom things. Like I've got my grandfather's old cotton scale hanging in there. And in fact, we even have a John boat hanging from the ceiling.
Oh, you do?
And
I
that is
don't
my
remember seeing that.
that's my grandfather's old John boat.
Oh, cool. I don't know. I'd have to go in there again and see if I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah,
But
and so there's a lot of special effects lighting and things. So it's a really neat place. It's not just an experience for your taste buds. There's lots of visual stimulus around too. So there's lots to look at. I even have an original a Galaga arcade game over in the corner that you can play for free.
oh, cool. Okay. I see over there that you brought some of your product.
That's right.
You want to talk about that?
So that's the thing. So that the core of our business is actually food manufacturing, right? So this is Sally's show. Sally jokes. All she really wants to do is stand in the kitchen and make pickles, and she makes some of the best tasting foods and pickles and pickled items. We have all kinds of pickled stuff: pickled pickles, pickled eggs, pickled garlic, pickled onions and everything. And here, honey, we have honey and jellies and jams, and we've even here more recently we've started to branch out and make other things like hot sauces are one thing. This is our smoked habanero hot sauce. It's really good. People love it. We even make these all natural insect repellent sprays. It's all essential oils and things like that, and people really love that.
Does that go on the skin?
Yes, yeah, and I've even had people tell me that they use it on their pets even. So it's really good for the no-see-ums, the little gnats and the things that buzz around you, and it works really well, and you're not spraying yourself with these toxic chemicals.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have honey in our shop, and again, all kinds of. This is just the stuff we make. It is just a handful of the things.
So since it's mountain homemade, I'm presuming that's local honey.
Yeah, that's this jar right here is honey from our bees and our beehives. That's one of the other things.
That's yours.
If I didn't need any more hobbies, it was beekeeping. So I got into that a few years ago, and they sting me every once in a while, but it's worth it.
Yeah, and there's medicinal benefits to local honey too, I believe.
That's right. I saw an article the other day. They're saying that eating local honey doesn't help with your allergies, but I'm just not sure that comports with the
well, that sounds
general wisdom.
That's one article against how many.
Exactly.
On the opposite.
That's right.
So.
Yeah, and more recently we started getting into making our own spices and flavored salts and things like this is one of the things. Dusty chicken dust is one of the products that we make. Fire salt is something that Sally has made. It's basically just a salt with some hot peppers incorporated into it. So it's hot stuff. But it's salt, rosemary salt.
Now, is everything pretty much natural ingredients?
Yeah. We don't put any phony preservatives or stuff like it. Of course, you don't need to with spices and things because it's not going to go bad for years. My favorite thing. Well, before I get to that, we even started making some of our own fish fry mixes here, and we have been test marketing this stuff. One of the new food brands that we're launching, it's made by us, but it's just a lot of the stuff we call it Farmer Little because that's our actual company. Is our own personal brand is Farmer Little's this and that, but we're launching a new food brand now that is more geared towards sportsmen. Fishermen, hunters, things like that. And so we've got in the future, we're going to have a lot more products like this, like these fish fries. So we call this one the real simple fish fry.
Stuff like that you guys are making, any of it. I'm guessing you put that stuff on your website.
Yeah.
Now, can purchases be made on the website?
Yeah, we're getting there. The new food brand doesn't have the website yet, but it will. And you go to farmerlittle.com. Is a website where you can go and it's our Etsy shop. You can purchase a lot of the product. Okay. And the thing is again, all of these food products are made right here in Mountain Home. It's kind of goes with the theme of our little consignment shop, right? It's Mountain Home made. It's everything in there is intended to be all local made stuff. And the thing that I'm most proud of, we just packaged this today, is our hickory smoked salt, and it's give that a smell there.
Oh yeah.
That's nice,
yeah.
huh? So this is our
Definitely smell the hickory.
newest product. It's all it is salt that's been smoked. I engineered some fancy contraption to put a bunch of salt in and smoke it. And so you can just sprinkle that on whatever, fish, chicken, or even vegetables. In fact, I've even talked to people. You sprinkle it on chocolate, and it enhances
Really?
smoked
Well, I
salt.
think when you make chocolate,
yeah, usually it's got a
there's
little salt in it,
isn't there?
but yeah, you can sprinkle that on like a chocolate dish or something to make it even better.
Yeah.
But anyway, this, like I said, Sally's the star of the show. She's kind of the wizard behind a lot of the food products that we make, including the charcuterie.
Well, I mean, just what's here, she's got to stay pretty busy.
Oh man, it's crazy. Well, sometimes when I tell people, all of the things that we do, and it's mainly Sally, they're going, yeah, you guys must stay really busy, and you ain't kidding. I don't know how Sally does it, but she's got a great mind. She's a very hard worker, and we're starting to grow the product line, and hopefully maybe in the next year or two have a national reach with some of our products.
That'd be fun. Well, I know the competition around here for this kind of stuff has got to be stiff.
Yeah, well,
But if you have a good product,
yeah,
doesn't matter.
we've never minded competition. Our attitude has always been, somebody else might make the same or a similar product to us, but they may like the way this other person makes it better than us. So we just make the product as best we can make it, and if you like ours, great.
There's room for everybody,
Yeah,
I think. As long as
there's
you
room.
have good product, you're going to get business.
That's right. And that's what that's why we have the attitude. We want other vendors to come in and have a place where they can sell their stuff.
on your
They can
shelves.
stock their products on our shelves, and you have a full-time place where people can go and shop and buy things instead of maybe just going to a festival or the farmers market once a week or something like that.
Yeah. So that sounds like you guys sounds like you're having fun. I don't know about Sally. Sounds like she's in the kitchen quite a bit.
Well, the only reason
she must enjoy it.
Yeah, the only reason she's not here is she's a little camera shy. I with my background and some of the previous jobs that I've had, I used to work in radio years ago, so I'm not afraid to get on a camera or behind a microphone. It just sort of comes natural to me.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I've never done any of this, but I'm just a social butterfly, so I don't even realize there's a camera going necessarily.
Yeah, and I'm glad you were here to talk to Teresa first, because it was a good reminder to me that I need to check and make sure that I paid my taxes this year.
Well, I think a lot of people, that slips by on them. I don't know if it's intentional, but I sure hope they remember, because they get penalized for that. But
Yeah.
anyway.
We don't want any penalties.
Anyway, is there anything else you want to add? Oh, location,
Oh yeah, well
website.
the location is 918 Highway 62 East here in Mountain Home. Now that is in the old Harps shopping
Plaza.
mall. So that, not the new one out on the west end of town. You come to the some people call it the Midtown Harps, the little shopping strip mall there.
I call it the Old Harps.
The old Harps. A lot of people call it Old Harps, but we're in that little strip mall down, kind of in the corner toward where the pharmacy is. We're just a few doors up from the pharmacy. You enter through the Mountain Homemade store, and then you can go into the Ozark Fork and Cork. You have some glass of wine, try some wines that you just can't get here, and some great food.
I may not have had a glass of wine in there. I'm not going to verify that fact.
Well,
not a fact.
Well, we've got a lot of people of all ages and all political persuasions, and young, old. We've got all kinds of people that love to come in there. It's a great time. It's a fun little environment, and everybody really seems to enjoy it.
Yeah, good deal. All right. Well, if you don't have anything else you'd like to add, we can close it down for this episode.
I really appreciate you having me in, and I'm looking forward to seeing other local businesses featured on this podcast too.
There will be. That's going to be a ongoing feature. And we appreciate you coming in. You're welcome to come back anytime, and thanks again. And on that note, I have a few upcoming, well, recurring events I want to announce. We have Quorum Court is first Tuesday each month. First Tuesday, 5:30 p.m., Baxter County Courthouse. The City Council meets first and third Thursday at 5 p.m. at City Hall. The Men's Club, Republican Men's Club, meets the first Thursday each month, 11:30 a.m. at the Elks. City Planning Committee, second Monday, 1 p.m., City Hall. County Planning Committee, second Tuesday, 11 a.m., Baxter County Courthouse. A&P, Advertising and Promotion, third Thursday, 3 p.m., City Hall. And the school board meets the third Thursday, 6 p.m. at the admin building on Rodeo Drive off of West Road. And Public Safety Commission, which is the old Airport Commission, they meet, I think it's quarterly, don't quote me on that, but it's as needed. And then don't forget Baxter County Republican Committee, last Tuesday each month at 6 p.m. at the VFW. And if there's any information that you didn't catch on this podcast, you can always catch somebody there that will be able to get you that information. And some people are even might be at that meeting.
That's
Some
right.
of our
Yeah,
guests.
the 28th of this month is the big Republican convention
Yes,
for the
yeah.
county committee. So
Yeah.
it's and it's very important that we get public participation in these our elected officials meetings. So anybody can show up and participate in those, and it is important that you participate so you can see what's going on.
Yeah, it's a great way to learn how your government functions, and then you start learning that, and you'll get comfortable, and you might even find yourself wanting to participate.
That's right.
And that's kind of how it happened with me accidentally. I was just going to the meetings, watching. Next thing you know, my hand went up, and it was all she wrote. So, but anyway, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you 1 week from this evening.
Thanks, everybody.